If you're running a small or a mid-sized business, you know the hustle. It feels like you're constantly juggling.
Oh, absolutely.
You've got customer demands, you're managing your staff, cash flow, operations. I mean, it is an exhausting balancing act.
And every minute you spend on some complex IT thing
Hmm.
is a minute you're not spending with a customer.
Exactly. Which is why cybersecurity feels like such a constant weight.
It is.
Yeah.
Because, the attackers are just relentless. I mean, new phishing domains are spun up every single day.
And taken down just as fast.
Yeah, and the malware is always changing to get around the old defenses, and any system you put online, it's being probed by bots almost instantly.
So the real conflict here for you, the SMB owner, is that you get that security is vital, but keeping up feels fundamentally impossible.
Right.
You don't have a security team. You're trying to wear that CISO hat while you're also doing invoices and marketing.
And that's the reality.
Yeah.
And our whole philosophy here is that no small business should have to track this global threat landscape by themselves, manually.
They shouldn't have to.
So our mission today is to simplify the solution. We're going to do a deep dive into cloud-based threat intelligence, or CTI. We'll break down what it is in plain English and why it's really the shortcut to getting top-tier security without the top-tier staff or budget.
Okay, so to start, the term itself, CTI, can sound a little dense. For the listener, what is the absolute simplest way to describe what cloud threat intelligence actually does?
Think of it as a live global security feed. It's like a huge bad stuff list that your security tools check in with every second of every day.
A live list, not a static one.
Exactly. So instead of your local firewall, guessing if a link is safe based on an update from last week,
Mm-hmm.
CTI makes sure every decision is backed by intelligence gathered from all over the world, probably just minutes ago.
Mm-hmm.
It's about replacing guesswork with immediate, massive knowledge.
I like that framing. It takes the guesswork out. So let's talk about the data itself. What specific kinds of information are on this global list? Is it just like known viruses?
Oh, it's much broader. Because modern attacks are so diverse, this feed is constantly updating across really 4 main categories of information.
Okay, give us the first one.
First, and maybe the most obvious, is malicious domains and URLs. This is the low-hanging fruit.
Right, phishing sites.
Phishing sites, fake bank pages, links that start a malware download. If a site is trying to trick your employees, CTI knows its address.
Okay, simple enough. What's next on the list?
Second would be dangerous IP addresses. These are more the infrastructure pieces. So servers used to launch attacks, or, and this is important, what we call command and control servers.
Wait, command and control servers? That sounds like something out of a movie. What does that actually mean for, a small office?
It's basically the malware's hidden headquarters. If malware gets onto one of your computers, it doesn't just act on its own.
Yeah.
It tries to call home to a command and control server to get instructions.
Instructions like what?
Things like start encrypting files now or begin uploading all the customer data. CTI blocks that phone call home. So if the malware can't get its instructions, it's basically neutered.
Okay, that right there shows the difference between being reactive and proactive. So what's the third category?
Third is the more traditional stuff virus and malware signatures. These are like the unique digital fingerprints of known malicious files.
Got it.
If a file comes into your network, this intelligence can instantly check if its fingerprint matches, a known piece of ransomware or a Trojan.
Okay, so we've got bad addresses, bad files. What's the fourth one? The one that sounds like it needs a bit more insight.
The fourth one is critical, and it's often the most valuable against brand new attacks. It's suspicious behaviors and DNS patterns.
So not just what is bad, but how it's acting.
Precisely. For instance, if a computer in your office suddenly tries to connect to 1,000 random-looking domains one after another, well, that's classic botnet behavior. CTI sees that pattern.
So, if an attacker creates a totally new piece of malware, a 0-day that has no signature yet, CTI could still catch it, just based on what it's trying to do.
That's exactly right. If that new malware starts acting in a known malicious way, like trying to encrypt a ton of files, the system flags and blocks the activity based on that pattern. It's a huge defense against new threats.
This all sounds like a colossal operation. Who is actually collecting all this data and building this encyclopedia of threats?
It's a combination. You have human security experts all over the world investigating attacks in real time. But, and this is crucial, the speed really comes from automated systems and AI.
Analyzing huge amounts of data.
Truly massive traffic volumes, petabytes of data to spot new patterns almost instantly. And then this intelligence is shared across networks, across regions, even between competing security companies. It's a collective defense.
Which brings us to why the old way, relying on that dusty box in the server closet, it just doesn't work anymore. I remember the advice was buy a firewall, update it once in a while, and hope for the best.
That model is completely broken. There are really two simple reasons why that manual on-premise model just fails for SMBs today.
Okay, let's start with the speed of it all.
Well, the threat landscape changes daily, sometimes hourly. Attackers are deploying new phishing pages that are live for just a few hours to avoid detection. They're constantly registering lookalike domains. And malware, like we said, it evolves like a living thing to create new variants every single day.
So even if you, the business owner, updated everything perfectly on a Monday morning, by Wednesday, you're already fighting last week's war. You're just always playing catch up.
That's the painful truth. And the second reason it fails is the internal one, time and staff.
Right.
I mean, who in a busy office has the time, let alone the expertise, to constantly monitor for new patches, download them, test them, apply them?
Nobody. So the devices just get left as is, and they silently get more and more out of date. Security decay.
And that is exactly what attackers count on. That window of opportunity between a new threat appearing and an SMB finally getting around to applying the patch, that's their sweet spot.
It's like locking your doors when you move into a new house, but then you never check the windows again. You just assume the locks from 5 years ago are still good enough.
That is a perfect analogy. Your security just gradually falls behind without that continuous automatic oversight.
Okay, so CTI is the solution. The security system that quietly consults this global brain in the background. So how does that actual check work? What's happening when an employee clicks a link?
It happens at a really fundamental level, usually the DNS layer. When a device asks to visit a website, that request goes through a cloud-managed service first. And three things happen instantly.
Let's do the first one, the live check.
The live check instantly cross-references the destination, the domain, the IP address, against that massive real-time CTI feed. It's asking, is this domain flagged for phishing right now?
And this all happens in milliseconds.
Milliseconds. The employee never even notices a slowdown, which is key. If security slows things down, people try to get around it.
True.
And that speed is critical for the second big advantage of the cloud model, shared learning.
This is the scale benefit, right? Where everyone helps everyone else.
Exactly. A new threat is learned once, and then it's blocked for everyone, everywhere. So imagine a new malware strain hits a business in Europe.
Okay.
The CPI system analyzes it, learns its patterns, updates the global feed, and instantly that block is working for your office in Texas or a remote worker in Vancouver.
So it's like instantaneous global immunity. You benefit from every other attack or near miss on the planet. You don't have to wait for some vendor to package an update.
Correct. Which leads right into the third benefit. Continuous updates. You never have to log in to apply a patch. You never have to ask, are we on the latest version?
The stress of that is just gone.
It's gone. The system updates itself in the background constantly. It just removes that huge management burden from the SMB owner.
So let's go back to an analogy. You mentioned a flu shot earlier. How does CTI relate to that?
Well, it really shows the need for timely defense. Health experts are always analyzing which flu strains are circulating right now to update the vaccine for the current season. CTI is the same. It's tuned to what's actively happening on the internet today.
And relying on old offline security.
It's like using last year's vaccine and just hoping it's close enough. And in cybersecurity, hope is not a strategy.
That really drives home the vulnerability of those legacy appliances. So if I have an older firewall that needs manual updates, what are the failure points attackers are looking for?
There are three glaring ones. First, just stale protection. If your last update was 6 months ago, that box has zero idea about a phishing campaign that started last week. It's flying blind.
Fighting old battles.
Second, human dependency. The security relies entirely on one person, you probably remembering to do the update, having time to do it right, and not putting it off. That's a huge point of failure.
And third is that lack of global learning we talked about. Your box is basically an island.
Totally. Your appliance learns nothing if another company gets hit by a zero-day attack today. Attackers know this isolation is their best friend. They can launch an attack knowing that while the CTI platforms are learning about it, all the offline boxes are still going to be vulnerable.
This is where we make it practical. Sources point to platforms like Cybird, which use CTI to bring this big company protection to SMBs without the complexity. How does that DNS layer security work in practice?
It just simplifies everything.
Mhm.
By focusing on DNS, the Internet's directory, it catches threats at the earliest possible moment. It's like a universal traffic cop.
Hmm.
Every single request to connect to a website gets checked against that threat feed before the connection is even made. It
Wow.
blocks phishing, malware, C2 servers, all before they reach you.
So you're not installing big software on every single computer, you're just rerouting traffic through a smart filter in the cloud.
Exactly. And because the brain is in the cloud, you don't worry about updates. The
Mhm.
protection is just instantly there across your office Wi-Fi, your guest network, even for remote locations. It just travels with you.
Okay, walk us through that real-world scenario. Let's turn a potential disaster into a security win so the listener can really visualize it.
Okay, let's imagine a credential theft attempt. A new, very convincing phishing campaign targeting Microsoft 365 passwords starts up overseas. It's using brand new domains nobody has seen before.
Right.
But automated systems watching global traffic, they detect the behavior. They see how this new domain is trying to mimic Microsoft from a weird server block.
So the CTI system learns the threat's behavior, not just its name.
It does. It immediately flags those new addresses as malicious. So now, a few hours later, one of your employees gets a legit-looking email. They click the link and their browser sends a request to connect.
The crucial moment.
That request hits the cloud service, which checks the global feed, and it sees the domain is flagged as dangerous. The connection is blocked instantly.
So instead of seeing a fake Microsoft login page,
The employee just sees a safe generic block page. This site can't be reached. From their perspective, the link was just broken.
and they just move on with their day, completely unaware that a major security breach, the theft of their password, was just stopped automatically.
That's security by quiet default. It's the definition of low-effort, high-impact defense. And it reinforces that you don't need to be a security expert. You don't need a big team or a big budget. You're borrowing this global collective intelligence that does the heavy lifting for you.
So wrapping this up for the SMB owner who is already overloaded, if we summarize the value here, what are the key takeaways for them?
It really comes down to four things that just lift the burden. First, it's always current. Your protection evolves as fast as the threats do. Second, shared learning. An attack on someone else helps protect you.
Collective resilience.
Right. Third, it's low effort. It gets rid of that horrible stress of manual patching.
Mm.
And finally, you get enterprise-grade defense with a simplicity that actually works for a small business.
Hackers move at digital speed. A small business cannot and really should not have to try and keep pace with that manually.
And cloud threat intelligence is how you borrow that speed and scale and intelligence from the cloud. It ensures you're backed by this constantly updated global brain, keeping you one step ahead.
Which lets your business stop chasing security updates and get back to focusing on customers and growing the operation.
The only question you should really be asking yourself after this is my security running on intelligence from this morning or from last quarter? Because if it isn't updating itself in real time, you're operating with an unacceptable and, frankly, an easily